Before reading this article, you are sincerely invited to click follow, so that you can consult a series of high-quality articles at any time, and facilitate discussion and sharing. Thank you for your support. The allocation of resources, especially the allocation of economic capital, has always been a relatively big problem in human society. How to allocate economic resources has always been a topic among different cultures in the course of our social development for thousands of years. With the change of people's understanding and the change of social form in today's social life, the influence of economic capital is already one of the factors that can change people's lives to a great extent. Then there is another point, that those people with extremely high economic status also have a higher social status than before. It is more obvious that when the internet was more developed before. A well-known businessman is affectionately called dad by many netizens. A well-known rich second generation is called husband. Such a phenomenon can't help but make people think. They do have capital that is different from ordinary people, but just for this, is it worth treating them like this? In fact, apart from such issues, there are still many controversial discussions about the rich, such as their whereabouts. Where do the rich go? Not long ago, the world-renowned Huron once conducted such a survey. It takes China's wealthy as the object of investigation, and the problem is that this part of the wealthy group whose income far exceeds ordinary people. Do you plan to emigrate overseas in the future? As a result, the interviewee group, whose sample is not too small, gave a somewhat surprising answer. Among the dozens, close to 100 millionaires, 75% answered that they plan to emigrate overseas. The remaining 25% of the answers are astonishingly have immigrated. Such data is shocking. In fact, as a country with a relatively large population in the world, the Chinese team's views on immigration issues. It has always been relatively open, even if some people choose to immigrate to other countries for various reasons. Then there is usually no big problem. It's just that most of the time, you have to endure some tests in your own heart, as well as some questions from close relatives and friends around you. So why is it only this part of the rich who enjoy a lot of economic capital? When you make immigration actions or have related ideas, will you be so heatedly discussed by everyone? In fact, before discussing this issue, we might as well take a look at how different groups in society distinguish each other. Grouping and getting along, changing criteria. There are many differences among complex individuals in a society, especially with a long history like China. In a country with a large population, it can be said that in any age, the differences between people are very large. Therefore, the standards and methods of grouping people at different levels in society are also different. In the feudal era, farming civilization determined that people at that time attached great importance to land, coupled with the influence of early feudal rule. People at that time formed the concept of class divisions such as scholars, farmers, businessmen. In fact, the logic behind the division system is based on power and ability. In the subsequent social development process, the social form has changed. The social form dominated by agriculture has gradually become dominated by industry. After the founding of the People's Republic of China, personal qualities and performance in society have become important criteria for judging a person. In the 21st century, the possession of economic capital has gradually become an important criterion for defining a person's social status. Therefore, many wealthy people in the country also take advantage of the east wind and rely on some convenient conditions. In the era when everyone was not yet rich, he quickly accumulated wealth in his hands and stood out among the crowd with little difference. Therefore, under such circumstances, a boundary has gradually appeared between this wealthy group and the public. As mentioned above, the masses will even refer to very rich people as dad. But in the final analysis, the way and timing of this group's acquisition of capital are quite special, and their hearts are not at peace. In addition, there are fundamental institutional and ideological differences between the East and the West, especially between big countries like China and the United States. Chinese people pay more attention to the collective, and the development of an individual cannot be separated from the organization and group in which he belongs. Generally more emphasis on gratitude and return. But the Western civilization represented by the United States is completely different. They pay more attention to the individual and emphasize the so-called freedom and autonomy. So a picture is slowly unfolding in front of us. For a person with a lot of capital in his hands, if he doesn't spend time and energy in the country to pay attention to his own character and words and deeds. Then he is likely to lose a lot of money in a short period of time, if it is in a Western country. Don't worry too much about this situation, just concentrate on making money. Sometimes even if you do something unethical, it will not violate some norms in Western concepts. Therefore, in order to obtain capital more unscrupulously without restraining themselves, many people who have accumulated a certain amount of wealth will choose to immigrate.